Alabama versus Texas A&M has the potential to be the game of the year. Both Alabama and Texas A&M are coming into this game 4-1. They're both trying to win the SEC West, and I think it's important for us to recognize the strengths and weaknesses of both teams. Now, we know Alabama is a team that is coming in. They are hot, and I believe they have figured it out. Alabama's O-line is getting better and better, but they are going against Texas A&M, a team in which I've seen people talk about may have the best D-line in the country. And so that's going to be a problem for a relatively young Alabama offensive line. And being an Alabama fan myself, this game scares me a little bit. This game is one of those games where you have no idea what is going to happen. And we've seen in the past. Let's talk about a Johnny Manziel way back when. He came down in a T-town and he let off rounds. I'm telling you, this guy put himself on the map that day. But history aside, the main thing is Alabama's rushing attack going to be enough to beat Texas A&M like they did Mississippi State last week? And I think it will be. I think it will be enough, and I think they will get it going early. As long as Reese, the OC for Alabama, continues to improve, but he seems to be getting his stuff together. So Reese, look, we watching you. But if we look at Texas A&M in their games, I mean, they played well against the teams that they were given. You have to win the games that you are given, right? The only loss that they have is to a Miami team, 48-33. If you look at how Texas A&M lost that game, they lost that game because Tyler Van Dyke threw 374 yards, 21 of 30, 5 tutties, okay? And so what does that tell you? Texas A&M secondary can be a little bit shaky, okay? It can be a little bit shaky. I think that Alabama game plan is going to be to go in, establish the run, and then kill them over the top. They have the perfect quarterback to do that. And so there are going to be a lot of deep ball throws, a lot of shots down the field. But the question is, will Milroe have enough time to actually establish throwing the ball down the field? So we're going to see, but that's how I think Alabama can exploit. Start off with the run game, get some of those DBs, get some of those guys to come up a little bit, and then I believe that Alabama can absolutely kill them over the top as long as the offensive line grows up a little bit. But if you look on the flip side of it, how can Texas A&M beat Alabama? Okay, if you look at Alabama's only loss this season, they lost to Texas, and what happens? They had Milroe turn the ball over. And so if Texas A&M is going to win that game or win this game, they're going to have to get Milroe under duress, have him make mistakes, have him second think, have him second guess. And I think they can do that as well. And so that's why, as an Alabama fan, this game honestly scares me a little bit, like I stated earlier, man. So we're going to see what happens. I do have Alabama winning this game. I think it's going to be a close one, but I have us pulling out late and winning by 7. All right, I have us winning by 7 or 10. I can see a 10-point ball game late, depending on how everything goes. But being that we gotta go down there at College Station, it's gonna be real tough. The crowd's gonna show up, and so it's gonna be a hostile environment. Can Milroe handle the heat? Can the Texas A&M defense come to play? We're going to see. That D-line, it's no question. I think that D-line is going to show up. I think they're going to do a great job. But I do want to point this out. As I'm looking at this box score, my man had 10 rushes, 50 yards. He averaged 5 yards a carry. And then another guy on Miami's team, he had just 5 carries, but he had 22 yards, 4.4. So we're going to see what that great Texas A&M D-line can actually do. Those 300-pound guys back there for Alabama, they're ready. I think they're ready. They're getting better and better. Not necessarily with pass protection, but I think running the ball as the game goes on, they just start to wane on people. I think that's why Alabama, like the past few games, they have had these great second half. If you look at the Ole Miss game, they had a great second half. If you look at the Mississippi State game, they had a great second half. And so Texas A&M is going to have a hard time, I think, dealing with those big guys when it comes to rushing the ball. But when it comes to actually dropping back to pass, we shall see. And so, as many of you already know, Texas A&M starting quarterback is out for the season due to injury. And now Max Johnson is the starting quarterback. And I think Max Johnson is a decent QB. Last game, he went 17-28, 210, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. And I think he will do a decent job this game, but doing a decent job is not enough to beat Alabama. The only way you can beat the Alabama defense is to have a great game from your QB. You have to have a great game for your QB. That's why I brought up Johnny Manziel earlier. Every time Alabama loses, that means that the QB that we played against had a fantastic game. You don't even have to look at the stat sheet. The quarterback had a fantastic game. You're not going to beat this team by rushing the ball. Lavon Moss had 17 carries, 107 yards, 6.3 average against Razorbacks last week. But I don't believe that he's going to be able to carry this team to a win. It's all going to be on the shoulders of Max Johnson, and if the defense of Texas A&M can get some stops. That's basically what it's going to come down to. But I think Alabama is going to be able to do enough in order to get the victory. And I think it's going to come down to, can the offensive line grow up? We will see. It's on their shoulders. If the offensive line grows up, if the running attack is there, I think Miro is going to be fine, because you're not going to be able to put him in a bind. You're not going to be able to put him in a situation where he is having to think too much, and he can just be comfortable back there. And if he's comfortable back there, is a done deal. But hey, who knows what's going to happen. Texas A&M is one of those teams that I think is better than their rank says. They're 4-1. They only lost to a Miami team that is playing pretty well right now. And looking at this entire landscape of college football, I'm so ready for this 12-team playoff to begin, because this 4-team thing is honestly dumb. I can go on a rant for that for a long time, but I won't do that during this video. But I do get why they're not ranked as high as they should be, because their wins aren't necessarily just super like fantastic wins. But as I always state, anything can happen in football. You never know what way a ball may roll. A 50-50 ball may, lead to a scoop and score. And so you still have to play the game that is in front of you and take it at a week by week thing. And so I think it's going to be a great game, though. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's a 2:30 game, and it's on CBS. So we're going to be watching. We're going to be sitting back, relaxing, seeing if this team can pull this thing out. Texas A&M is real, though. They're real. And as an Alabama fan, I want you guys to know this. Don't sleep on Texas A&M. Don't think we're just going to walk in there because Texas A&M isn't ranked. I've seen some people say that. Just because Texas A&M isn't ranked, that does not tell the full story. The main reason, like I said, that I believe that they aren't ranked because of just the quality of wins. But that team, that got talent on that team. They got talent on that team. Make no doubt about it. They got talent on the team, but so do we. So do we. We have the star power to match up with theirs. I think that's a wash. And then I think it's just going to come down to, honestly, who wants to win this more. Alabama's not going to just win off pure talent. Who wants this game more? Who wants to win this game? Who wants to continue to play for the opportunity to get in the playoffs? Because Texas A&M win this and run the table, they're going to get in. If Alabama win this and run the table, they're going to get in. And I think both teams can do that. I think this is probably the toughest game on each one of these teams' schedule. I mean, let me look at Texas A&M's schedule real quick. Yeah, this is a tougher one they got left. Texas has Tennessee, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, ACU, and LSU. I think they can win all of those games. And Alabama, the same thing. They have Arkansas, Tennessee, LSU, Kentucky, Chattanooga, and Auburn. The only one that I'm really highlighting out of this is the LSU game and the Kentucky game, which, I mean, Tennessee is no slight either. They're not as good this year as I thought, but out of both of those remaining schedules, Alabama definitely has the hardest one, but no game on here that I think that they cannot win. The Kentucky game is going to be interesting. We're going to see how good Kentucky is this week playing Georgia. Oh, man, I'm really looking forward to that game, but I feel like, I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like they played each other not too long ago and they were undefeated. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think they were undefeated, and like Georgia like put a mud hole in them. I was like, okay, Kentucky, you got me excited for nothing. I thought it was going to be a good affair. I thought it was going to be a good game, but they did not come to play that day. So it is what it is. But it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be an interesting game for sure. My prediction is that Alabama is going to win, I'm going to say by 10. All right, I got Alabama by 10 in this game, guys. Let me know what you think down below. Who do you have winning and why? I'll see you guys in the next video.